Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Tom Morgan Drum Studio. Here we are back again in the sequential approach to Rudimental Snare Drum. And we've reached page 63. And we're going to cover three rudiments today: the double Ratamacue and the single and double Paradiddle. And then do a solo that will use those three rudiments. If you like this video, be sure and hit the like button. It really helps me out. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that, because we're going to continue to go through this book and go through almost all of the PAS 40 rudiments. There's a couple of them I don't cover in the book because I don't think they're kind of worth doing. But the vast majority of them we're going to be covering and performing here. So let's look at page 62, the double Ratamacue. In our last video, we did the single Ratamacue. And the double Ratamacue, if you can do the single, you're not going to have any trouble with the double. All you do is add another drag to it at the front. So it sounds like this. Okay. Two drags and then the triplet. Now, if you look on 62, you'll see 4 different exercises you can do. The first one is just alternating the double Ratamacue with a ending on a quarter note each time. So I'll play that for you. Ready, and go, and. Okay, and the bottom sticking there just starts with the left drag instead of the right one, but it's the same exact thing. Okay, if we go down to line 2, we have the same basic idea, except now we're ending up on a 8th note instead of on a quarter note. So we won't have the space between the double Ratamakue. So that sounds like this. Ready, and go, and. And they'll occur that way quite a bit in the traditional rudimental literature. Okay, now line 3 combines the single Ratamacue with the double Ratamacue. And so notice there's 2 stickings, and actually if you just read the first sticking all the way to the end, it'll repeat back, but you could just use the bottom sticking the second time. So it kind of loops around each time. So I'll play it twice. Ready, and go, and. So it's a nice little exercise to just get used to playing both the single and the double Ratamacue together. Notice when we put the double Ratamacue, like in line 2 and line 3, when we put it in the in the exercise so that there's an 8th note at the end and you're in 4/4 time, it creates a hemiola pattern where you're really implying that you're kind of in 3/8, but you're really in 4/4. So if you look back at number 2 for a second, if you just heard that without looking at the music, you might think it was in 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But you're really in 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's kind of a cool effect that often happens in rudimental literature. Okay, line 4 it adds the triplets at the end of the measure each time, and this sticking doesn't send you down to the bottom sticking. You keep doing the top sticking over and over, and then you switch over and do the bottom sticking over and over. So I'll do the top sticking to give you an idea how that goes. It includes really a single Ratamacue and a double Ratamacue. Ready, and go, and. Okay, and again, that's a very common pattern that you'll see in rudimental solos. All right, so let's turn the page and we'll look at the single paradiddle and the double paradiddle on page 64. Now the single paradiddle, we've already done the flam paradiddle, so if you've worked on that and you can play it, then the single paradiddle is actually easier because it doesn't involve playing a flam. Now this is one of the most important sticking patterns that you can learn. It has so many applications to the drum set. And the thing that makes it so useful is every 4 notes, you end up changing the hand that starts the 4 notes. So if you're thinking about 4 16th notes in common time, if you just play it right, left, you're always going to be starting the downbeat with the right hand. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and. But when you play paradiddles, it switches, it alternates. So the first one starts with the right, and the sticking makes it so that the next one starts with the left, and then back and forth. So it looks like this. Okay, now this is very, very useful when you're playing on multiple sound surfaces, like the drum set, because a lot of times you find that moving from one surface to another will be so much easier and smoother if you employ the paradiddle sticking, so that you don't have to, like if you're going from over here, right, left, and you have to go up to another drum up here, like the floor tom to the small tom, then it's obviously you can do it, but it's sometimes easier to go right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, as opposed to, crossing over yourself if you use single strokes. So that's just one example of how the paradiddle is a very, very useful and extremely common sticking. I mean, if the most common sticking is alternating strokes, then maybe the next one might be double strokes. The paradiddle is right there, kind of with double strokes as being very common. So let me play line number 1. All it is just the single paradiddle sticking and repeated. Okay, so if you've never done paradiddles before, you may have to start slower than that, but the goal is to make it sound even enough that if someone wasn't looking at you, they couldn't tell if you were playing single strokes or the paradiddle sticking. And so, it doesn't do any good to practice it faster than you can play it. It's always good to practice it whatever speed you can really do it well. And notice that the accent is facilitated by the double strokes that you play just before it. So if I go right, left, right, it gives me time to lift my left stick up. So I'm ready to accent left, right, left, and then the same thing with the right. I've lifted it during the double strokes of the left, so I can come down with an accent. So it makes accenting really, really easy and very natural. And that's good, but because of that, it's also important to practice it without accents, because you don't always want to use it with accents. Sometimes you just want to use the sticking to move around different sound surfaces, and you don't want to also have to add an accent to do that. So it's a good idea to practice it without accents like this. And And the secret to that is uniform stick height. Remember, stick height determines volume. So if you're trying to eliminate accents, really focus on trying to keep your stick height uniform all the time you're doing it. If you've never done it without accents, you'll be kind of surprised at how difficult it is at first. You have to really work on it. Okay, so the single paradiddle with accents and without accents. Line number 2 is just puts it into a little bit different context with 2 eighth notes put between each paradiddle. So that sounds like this. Ready, and go, and okay, not much to that. Then line 3 is just a little different pattern, but you see that the sticking in the first measure reverses itself in the second measure, and then you just keep repeating it. So this is a really good, I found, just a simple little exercise to work on evenness and control. Ready, and go, and okay? And all of these you want to work on with a metronome. Try getting them obviously as fast as you can play them, but never sacrifice evenness and control for speed. You don't want to be practicing it fast and playing it fast and being sloppy and uneven. You want to always make sure you never practice faster than you can actually play. You might want to practice right at the edge of where you can control it, because you are going to want to try to move the metronome click up as you're ready, but going faster than you can control it is counterproductive. And if you have to do it real slow, don't worry about it. Everybody has to start where they start. And, the thing is about it is it's important to know that consistently doing it over days and weeks and months, you will get better. I just had a friend of mine say something to me that I think is really profound. He said, it doesn't matter where you're at. It just matters where you're going. And I don't know if you even realize how profound a statement that was, but you can't get all worked up over about the point you're at, where you are right now. Just accept that and then move from there, because everybody has to start at, the beginning. All right, so double paradiddle now. Now the double paradiddle, as you can see if you have the book, is nothing more than just adding 2 more notes at the beginning of the single paradiddle. So it has 2 accents traditionally instead of 1. So line 4 is a little exercise. It has a bunch of double paradiddles, and then it ends with 2 single paradiddles to kind of bring you back to the beginning. So it sounds like this. Ready, and go, and. Okay, so you want to keep pushing that as you can, like we talked about, eventually get it at a faster speed. And just like we practiced the single paradiddle with accent and no accent, we want to do the same here, but there's actually 3 ways to practice the double paradiddle. The way I just did it with 2 accents, and then you can also practice it just with 1 accent. Okay? And then the last way would be with no accents. Ready? Go. Okay, and again, you want to focus on stick height. Okay, so now we come to page 65 and solo 13 which uses the double Ratamacue and the single and double Paradiddle. So before we play it, let's just talk through a few little details here. You notice at the very beginning there's a little curly cue kind of deal at the top of the page there, and that's called the sign. And when we get down to the last measure of the second to the last line, you see DS al coda, which means del signo al coda, or go back to the sign, and then play until you come to the coda. So when you get to that measure, the last measure of the second to the last line, you go back to the beginning where the sign is. You don't play the pickup 7-stroke roll, but you just go right back to the first complete measure, and you play back through. Now when you get to the repeat, you take the second ending when you are doing the DS. That's customary. And then we keep playing down to the end of the fourth line, and it says to coda. And then after you play that measure, you jump down to the bottom line and play the last 3 measures to end the solo. So it's just a shortcut that has been used for centuries to avoid having to rewrite a whole bunch of music that is already there that you're going to repeat. The other thing about this solo is the change of time signature. About halfway through, you see that 6/8 shows up, and so you move from 2/4 to 6/8. And when I do that, I try to keep the 16th note constant from 2/4 to 6/8. So if I'm going 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and then when I get to 6/8, I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and roughly. I don't worry about little adjustments in tempo there, but I try to keep that pretty consistent. All right, so other than that, we just play the solo and observe the dynamics and the stickings as always. So here we go, solo 13. 1, 2, 1, and 2. Okay, so that's solo 13. As always, start slowly. Maybe if you can't play it as fast as I do at first, that's fine. It's understandable. Start at a tempo that you can play. And also, don't try to learn the whole thing in one big gulp. Maybe practice sections of it if you need to. And do repetitive practice. And then once you get the sections going, then put them together. And I think the ultimate goal is to try to get it fast enough that you can play it along with me on this recording. So again, if you like this video, please like it and please subscribe to the channel. And we will catch you on the next video as we continue through this book, A Sequential Approach to Rudimental Snare Drum. See you later. Bye-bye.